Okay, guys, this is going to be my review for the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, aka the Snyder cut. What do I think about the film? I think it is definitely way better than the theatrical Justice League. I think at the heart of it, when I made a video talking about the theatrical Justice League, my problem with the theatrical Justice League was that they didn't give enough time to flesh out the story and develop the characters. And time was the biggest issue. And time was not an issue here. They fleshed out the characters, especially Cyborg, with so many great scenes with Cyborg, from the scene with the waitress and giving her money, and really developing the relationship between Cyborg and his father. And it really makes Cyborg the central character of this movie. It really does, as well as develop as a make it feel more natural for them to come together. It didn't feel rushed, them coming together, and giving time to really develop the characters individually and develop the team, and as well as the story too. They gave us a lot more exposition as to the story and as to Steppenwolf's motivation, and I think even Darkseid's little appearances throughout it, I think helped the story in terms of the scope and scale and really what's at stake. Where I always thought the theatrical version felt on such a small scale, because like the big climax was literally the Flash, pulling a family out of the city, and well, the story is generally the same. There's no real big story changes. The only real changes are more movie, less, quippy jokes, and tonal changes. But other than maybe some tonal shifts and some, jokes taken in, some jokes taken out, some lines taken in, some lines taken out, and maybe some different visuals, the story is the same. So if you don't like the story from the theatrical version, you're not going to like the story here. And I'm fine with that, because I really do feel like the story was just a good story but underdeveloped in the theatrical version. But again, I think the heart to what makes this film better is time. Giving more time to develop stories, the story, the characters, and just the overall concept of this movie. And also, again, bringing in Superman, it gave it more time to breathe, and more time to linger. But with that being said, the biggest flaw, see, that's the thing, the biggest strength this movie has is time, but that's also its biggest weakness, where I feel like there were definitely an abundance of scenes that were unnecessary. This movie is a 4-hour movie when it could have been cut down to 3.5 hours. To be honest, because I think there are scenes where you could tell, yeah, that's cool. That's a well-made scene, but that doesn't need to be here. I think some examples are the scene where the girls are singing to Aquaman that went on for like a minute. That could have gotten cut. The scene with Iris in the Flash, because I think, because at the end of the day, I think when you want to know if a scene is important or not, it either has to develop the plot or develop a certain character. Seeing these girls sing to Aquaman doesn't develop the plot. It doesn't make us know more about Aquaman. And then the scene with saving Iris, it really has nothing to really do with Flash, because all you did was see Flash save Iris. We knew that the Flash was fast, and so I really do feel like the dog interview thing, it didn't need to be there. It didn't need to be there. I think it was fan service at best to have Iris. Like, I know that I'm sure when Zack Snyder was making it, he was making in mind that he'll do like a Flash movie and do this and this. But at the end of the day, I'm calling it as it is. I mean, it didn't need to be there. I mean, it didn't further the plot, and nor did we learn anything new about Flash. Oh, the new thing about Flash. No, Iris was in it for one scene, boom, done. It didn't need to be there. Martian Manhunter. Cool, fan service to have Martian Manhunter there. He developed nothing to the plot. he pops up as Martha, and you're like, what the hell? And the whole time I'm thinking he's gonna join the final battle. He's gonna join the final battle, and he doesn't. And he pops up at the very end. It's like, what were you doing the whole time when the whole world was at stake? And so that's a very real criticism of the movie. Another criticism is you never really get to feel the scope in terms of humanity is at risk, because the whole movie they're talking, oh my god, everything's at risk, humanity's at risk, the world's at risk, everything is in danger. The problem is, see, I think a good comparison is, in the first Avengers, you see innocent bystanders in trouble, and you see all that, but here in Justice League, the Snyder cut, you don't really see anyone in danger beyond that's guilty of anything, or it's innocent, I should say, because you get it. Okay, obviously they're gonna attack Star Labs, or you know that's the impending doom, but you don't see that. I loved the nightmare scene, Injustice, Gods Among Us with Dark Superman, and Lois and all stuff. I really enjoyed that. So I mean, overall, it was a film where it benefited from the longer runtime, but it missed its sweet spot. Where it's not like it was bad. The scenes that were, it's not like the scenes I would have cut were bad scenes. There were unnecessary scenes, and see, this is the thing. If these scenes were in the Joss Whedon cut of the movie, which, by the way, it's like, that's the thing. I will never get why Warner Brothers hired Joss Whedon, because he did nothing to the movie. Because in essence, it's the same movie, but they just told him to write a few jokes. So when they said he came in to direct new stuff, what did he direct? There was no new sequences. Every sequence was just a tad bit shorter. That was it, really. He just made each scene a tad bit shorter and maybe an extra joke or two. He really didn't change much other than make it shorter. And I think, honestly, by making... The biggest problem was not anything Joss did. It was Warner Brothers deciding to make it 2 hours. That was the biggest problem. It wasn't anything Joss did. It was making it 2 hours long. Because I contend, if you had everything that Joss Whedon actually changed, but kept in the 4-hour runtime, if you told Joss to make this movie or edit this movie or whatever, and it has to be, for argument's sake, 3 hours long, it would still be good, because I think the biggest problem was not adding a joke. I mean, I prefer this version a lot. I mean, it still is humorous. Like don't get me wrong, the Snyder Cut was still surprisingly humorous, actually. Which is weird, because, like, you would think, okay, they're going to add more humor because the Snyder Cut wasn't funny. They had a lot of jokes, so why would you change that? And the 2 hours long thing, I don't get. Like, you're never going to show a 4-hour movie. It was getting lower. It was going to get shorter than 4 hours. Make no mistake. They wouldn't show a 4-hour movie. Warner Bros. Wouldn't like that. Theaters wouldn't like that. They're not showing a 4-hour movie in theaters. So it would have got cut down. But 2 hours on the dot, especially now having seen the movie, this is a movie that probably in theaters should have got at least a 2.5-hour runtime. At the least. Honestly, 3 hours. So, at the end of the day, this film far exceeds the theatrical version with some great scenes. The nightmare scene was great. I really enjoyed the Joker stuff. I thought the final battle of I'm not impressed. Superman, so great. Great sequence. The whole Man of Steel, when they're going back to the fortress. It's the Fortress of Solitude in this universe, and hearing Jonathan Kent and hearing Jor-El, that was great. So overall, this film is far better than the theatrical version, with the biggest con and pro being the same thing. It's runtime. The CGI was very good, but also bad at some scenes. I think the scene where Wonder Woman goes to get the arrow and investigates the whole dark side hieroglyphics, the whole background of the outside part was bad CGI, but I definitely think Steppenwolf CGI was very much improved, and overall the CGI was improved. Another thing I don't get is the black suit. I get it. Oh, it's in the comics. It's in the comics. But here they didn't. They like listen. The thing is even though this is 4 hours long, there was still some stuff I would have liked to have gotten more developed, and just take the runtime from stuff that were unnecessary and make it put that money into stuff that were. Why don't you take away that whole singing to Aquaman stuff, and instead throw in a line saying this suit will get you back to full health. But it is what it is. But it was very good. It was really, really good. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Where does it rank with the DCEU? It's probably my favorite, honestly. But is that saying much? I don't know. It's not the best DC movie, but DCEU, maybe. I liked Wonder Woman. I really liked Man of Steel. I liked Batman vs Superman. I liked Aquaman. See the way I'm in. On average, I like the DCE movies, but I don't love them. You know what I mean? I really did enjoy Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. Like, I know a lot of people don't like Batman vs Superman, but for me, I liked Batman vs Superman. Not as much as Man of Steel. Man of Steel, I think, is really, really good. But I do think the Snyder Cut's the best, because I think it's the Justice League. It's what I liked about Batman vs Superman, what I liked about Man of Steel, what I liked about Wonder Woman, and kind of taking the best elements. The best elements of Wonder Woman were the Wonder Woman action sequences and the Amazon stuff. That was the best of Wonder Woman. Taking that, the best of Batman vs Superman, Batman. Come over here, Ben Affleck, Batman, and Superman, and that whole dynamic, pulling that from Batman vs Superman, and then Man of Steel. The great stuff I love about Man of Steel was showing the humanity of Superman, and so it's really the Snyder Cut is plucking out the best elements of the best previous DCU movies, and taking the best from Aquaman, taking the best from this and this. So yeah, I mean, like it. But I think would I like to see a Justice League Snyder Cut 2? It definitely teases that, but I really don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think so, and honestly, I don't care. I think it's smart that they probably don't go in this direction, in the sense that I'm sorry, but these Snyder previous movies haven't done so well. Don't tell me. You could say all you want. They're going in a bad direction for not doing another Snyder DC movie, but sorry, Batman vs Superman made money, but it should have been think about it. Batman vs Superman should have been at least $1 billion movie. Nope. Justice League, Man of Steel, Superman should have been $1 billion movie. No. So it's like, not only that, but look at the Rotten Tomato scores. Look at the box office, and trust me, that's what they care about. That's really what the executives care about. It's not what do the Snyder fans say. It's what the general audience say. Because see, that's the thing. The the fandom might think, yeah, the Snyder films are great, but us as the fandom, see, that's the thing. I think this is what fandoms don't get. I do believe in the majority of the DC fandom like Snyder's vision. I do believe the majority of DC fans like Zack Snyder's take on DC. But the majority of DC fans are not the majority of moviegoers. And I think that's the difference. Warner Bros. Doesn't care what the majority of DC fans think. They care what the majority of movie-going audiences think. That's the difference. Because I can go to someone who, is someone who, likes movies, but it doesn't like the Snyder, Justice League movies or DC movies. I think this is the difference. Is you can't just think, what does the fandom want? You gotta think, what does the overall movie-going public want? Because that's what Warner Bros. Cares about. And so I do think most of the money that Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel made came from that DC fandom that does like Snyder's vision. However, to be this movie that makes a lot of money and gets that biggest return possible, you need, four quadrants. You need to be a four quadrant movie, and I just don't think Snyder Cut is, because it's so entangled with Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. The Snyder Cut does not stand on its own. The Snyder Cut works as a third part to an overall story, Anyways, stay tuned for videos coming right at you.